Back in June, I launched a series of polls in which my subscribers participated to determine which was the best 21 Pilots song of all time. The final round took place earlier this month, and the winner was determined to be Holding On to You, the second track off of Vessel. The lead single off of Trench, Jumpsuit, took second place, followed closely by Trees in third. In this video, I'll walk through the results of this poll competition, looking at the top 10 songs and analyzing the breakdown by album. It was interesting to see that despite claims of recency bias affecting the results of the poll, leading to people voting more for songs off the new album Clancy simply because it was new, there was actually only one song off that album which made it into the top 10. However, with that being said, when we look at a breakdown and ranking by album, Clancy actually did score the highest. And I'll get into how that was determined in a moment. So, looking at the top 10, we obviously have Holding On to You, Jumpsuit, and Trees. And then in fourth place, we have the song Navigating. It was interesting to see this one rank so high on the list. It certainly is one of my favorites off of Clancy, but it's also one which Tyler Joseph mentioned considering cutting from the album. So I'm glad it made it through to the end. And then, in fifth place, we have Ode to Sleep, a classic 21 Pilots song if there ever was one. So no surprise that it made it into the top 5. And then in sixth place, we have the song Levitate. I was surprised this one made it this high. Certainly it is a fantastic song, but it's also one which isn't discussed very much, and I think often gets overlooked. In seventh place, we have the song My Blood off of Trench. In eighth place, we have the song Migraine from Vessel. And then surprisingly, only in ninth place, we have Car Radio. You would have thought that one would have been a bit higher up on the list, but guess not. And finally, in 10th place, we have one of my favorite songs off of Trench, Nico and the Niners. I was glad to see this song make it into the top 10, although I wasn't actually expecting that it would. It certainly is one of my favorites, but it isn't necessarily one that is a fan favorite for everyone. Or at least, so I thought. And it seems like it might actually be. Now, I should clarify here that the exact ranking of these 10 songs was not exact. To determine the placement of each song beyond fourth place, I looked at how these songs compared to the songs they lost out to. Now, if that doesn't make sense, let me provide an example. If Ode to Sleep was up against Navigating, and My Blood was up against Trees, and both Ode to Sleep and My Blood lost out to Navigating and Trees, then I looked at which of those losing songs received more percentage of votes in the bracket in which they were contained. So if My Blood received 30% of the votes, and Ode to Sleep received only 20% of the votes, then I would rank My Blood higher than Ode to Sleep. I'm not sure if that's exactly the breakdown. That's just an example of how I went about ranking these because I couldn't specifically determine the ranking beyond fourth place based off of the manner of the polls which we had set out. So take the ranking of these 6 songs with a grain of salt. In reality, they may have fared slightly better than they actually did. They might have beat out other songs that they're actually below here if we'd gone through and precisely voted for each one in a head-to-head competition. But obviously that would have taken forever and would have been a very long-winded competition that everyone would have gotten bored of by the third year. And using this method of ranking the songs beyond those top 4, I actually went through and determined the placement, as best I could, of all 92 songs which participated in this competition. And it was based off of that which I then determined the breakdown by album, assigning a score to each song and determining which album had the lowest score. Hopefully that makes some sense. If there's any confusion, I'll be happy to try my best to answer that in the comments. But again, I wasn't doing anything in an exact method. I was purely just doing the best I could out of curiosity of where these songs might have landed. So with that in mind, I then determined a breakdown of the albums, ranking all 7 to see which fared the best and which the worst in terms of how the songs off the album did in the competition as a whole. In first place, we had Clancy, as I mentioned earlier. That was a bit of a surprise, and may have been a result of recency bias, as some have claimed. In second place, we had Trench. In third place, we had Vessel. Fourth was surprisingly Scaled on Icy. Fifth was Regional Best. Sixth place was Blurryface. And in seventh place, sadly, we had Self-Titled. I wasn't surprised Clancy and Trench were high up there, but I somewhat expected Blurryface to be a bit farther up. And I definitely didn't expect Scaled and Icy to beat out 3 other albums. So it was interesting to see. So that's a basic summary of the results of the polling and how you, my viewers and subscribers, ranked all of 21 Pilots' songs and albums. I myself believed 3 different songs should have been in the top 3. In first place, I really thought Ode to Sleep should have won overall. Bandito should have taken second place, followed by Heavy Dirty Soul in third place. And there are plenty of other songs which rank pretty high for me but didn't quite make it into top 3. Songs like Message Man, The Judge, or Paladin Straight. There are a number of reasons why these are my top 3 of all time, but I think, in particular with Ode to Sleep and Heavy Dirty Soul, but also Bandito in its own way, these songs perfectly sum up and demonstrate the ability of 21 Pilots to create interesting and compelling songs in a very talented way. And if you'd like to see a video in which I go through and rank all 92 21 Pilots songs according to my own views on them, let me know in the comments. Also, I'm strongly considering doing another set of polls like this one, since so many people seem to enjoy it. The SKR studios suggested doing all the music videos by 21 Pilots, and that seems like a solid option. But if you have a better idea of what the next poll should be, let me know. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed this breakdown of the results, and thank you to everyone who participated over the past few months. It certainly would not have been much fun if nobody voted, so it's very nice to see people getting into it. Thank you for watching, and be sure to subscribe for more commentary and reviews.